Welcome to You're Making It Worse. I'm Elliot Glazer.
I'm Brent Sullivan.
And I'm H. Alan Scott.
We're here. We're queer.
Meh. Textual healing.
So there's a controversy brewing over a past animator on X-Men 97. I think every gay person has probably seen this at some point on social media because I feel like it's like always on Twitter or Instagram at some point. But Beau DeMayo, a animator for the series and also just worked at Marvel in general, was fired. And there's like a lot of back and forth over between Marvel and Disney, really, and DeMayo over the intent of the firing. But he's now saying that he will reveal all if you subscribe to his OnlyFans. Now,
oh no, seriously?
That's basically what it's saying. And so which I understand, he was fired. He's probably looking for money, which, you know, and he's cute, so he can get it. But rumors did start going crazy when DeMayo was fired just very shortly before the X-Men 97 series, I think, hit Disney Plus. And he basically posted a picture. Well, it started because he posted a picture of himself with like Pride related stuff, and he says that was the reason. But then Marvel pushed back a little bit and said that there was like an investigation into communication with other employees that they felt were inappropriate. DeMayo's lawyer says that that is a lie and that they're just doing it because of lots of different reasons, and also that that they wanted me to be the black stamp of approval on this project. I declined. They wanted to erase aspects of my personality that clashed or proved inconvenient with their narrative. This is what DeMayo's saying. And that it, you know, basically that Disney pushed an illegal non-disparagement provision in his contract, which is why he can't say a lot of things, but that DeMayo bore witness to and endured rampant discriminatory and harassing conduct during his years-long tenure with the company. So there's like a lot
before he was a showrunner at this show, X-Men.
Yes. So there's like a lot of back and forth between the reasoning for this firing and, you know, DeMayo's a single person who's just sort of trying to shape his own narrative in all of this. And of course, Disney is Disney. So like, you can't really fight Disney in a lot of ways. And it feels weird for me that someone would be fired for just like posting maybe a sexy picture of themselves for Pride in a Pride shirt that says Disney. Like, people posting sexy pictures, and not even nude pictures, but just like a sexy, thoughty picture on Instagram is so commonplace that I don't think Disney would. I mean, Disney
feels a bit far-fetched. Yeah,
there's something in it that isn't ringing true in this in what we're hearing from a lot of this. Now, of course, I don't know anyone involved in this, and I don't know a lot about the story other than what I've read, but it does feel like we're not getting the full story, and I don't know who to get the full story from. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you, when he says he's going to reveal all on OnlyFans, is that saying he wants to raise money and he will be nude? Or he's saying, I will be honest, I will like give streams if you care to listen, I'll give streams about this on
a lot
OnlyFans.
of that's murky because you have to subscribe to find it, and I'm not subscribing.
He's very
evasive.
But also he like posts a lot of like thirsty pics and stuff. He's like,
yes. And he previously did have an OnlyFans account that had content on it, free content. It was a free OnlyFans. I don't know what the content was like, but it was all scrubbed. It was all scrubbed. And he has these 3 posts that are sort of tailored at this, but they're not nude from what I can gather. And they are essentially just sort of a spot for him to maybe grow that nude sort of maybe thirsty platform, while at the same time talking about this issue and saying more and being more open on his OnlyFans than he can be elsewhere, basically. Part of me get why he's doing this, and I never am against anyone getting their coin, but at the same time I'm also like, this feels a little bit like you're baiting me.
I mean, that's literally OnlyFans to a T. 3/4 of the pages I join are like people baiting me to make me think that there is going to be hot content, and there isn't.
Yeah.
So it's basically, I mean, even though I still continue to funnel money towards the platform, it's basically a fraud. Mm-hmm. And you know, I guess I don't know anything about this person whatsoever. But the other thing I was thinking was just that, like, you know, he isn't like a janitor for Disney who was totally misused. It's like you said he was a showrunner, so like
The showrunner for X-Men
showrunners
87,
make a lot of money. Like, they usually are able to land on their feet somewhere else, especially if you've showrun for a Disney show, an X-Men Disney show. So there's a part of me that's like, I don't understand why all of a sudden you're imploding. Like, roll with the punches, move to the next project. And so why are you continuing to dig your own grave? Because everyone knows if you segue to having an OnlyFans page, you might actually become less hireable on some of these other projects that you would otherwise be hired on.
Yeah. And I don't know if that even, I mean, I think at this point, a lot of that entertainment work has soured. He's soured of it because of the treatment that he's received. And I feel like he's probably thinking he can make more money by going in this direction and maybe putting his own artwork elsewhere and OnlyFans and doing other things and make that money. Part of me is like, what's going to happen in 20 years when no one's subscribing to the OnlyFans? You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen when you're not hot? I think about that a lot because I've never been hot. And I don't know how someone who is hot then contemplates the idea of never being hot. I can help them. I can help them with that reality.
Yeah. Excuse me, Mr. 10 out of 10.
Sure.
The other thing I was going to say, so I know we've glossed over this in the past, but like, I am so fascinated about like what jobs would permit you to have an OnlyFans. I have largely argued in the past, like, you should be able to do whatever you want in your free time. Maybe if you're a kindergarten teacher, it might be just a little bit trickier, only because, like, good Lord, But I recently became aware of someone in LA who's a professor who has an OnlyFans, like a closeted OnlyFans page. And that was an interesting one to me because it just...
How do you know he's a professor?
I met this person.
Okay.
But it was interesting to me because I'm like, that's tough, like I could see a world in which you, like, a university might not want a professor to have an outwardly sexual page. Even if it is largely anonymous, he mostly shields his face, but like, but also, again, like I said, like, my belief is you should be able to do whatever you want in your free time, and that shouldn't be problematic. But also your class is full of like 18, 19, 20-year-olds who are learning from you, and if they all find out you have an OnlyFans, I don't know. I just find it's sort of a strange.
Well, it can be completely legal and totally allowed. But if it were me, it would complicate my relationship with that person as my teacher or professor, knowing that I could see him jerking off in a video. Like, without judgment, I'm just saying it would definitely complicate things in the way that I saw him as a teacher.
I think the teaching element is probably a no-go, but I have friends who are, I'm thinking of one who's a nurse who has an OnlyFans. I have friends who have OnlyFans who have other, like, regular jobs, like public-facing jobs, not like jobs like ours, but you know what I mean? Like public meaning that, like, they provide a service or something. And it doesn't bother me, and I don't think it creates a problem for them. I mean, I'm sure they're not, like, going crazy telling their employer about it.
Right.
But I also don't think it necessarily, like, should stop them from having one, and it shouldn't make them get fired either. I mean, I don't think they should be surprised if they get fired for it. But, like, I don't think they should be fired for it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was just going to say real quick, can you imagine, like, you're in, like, a hospital bed, you have an IV drip, you just got into a car accident or something, and he's like, hey, could you hold my phone when I show my butt? I want to, in my scrubs, I want to show my butt in my scrubs. Could you hold my phone for me and take a pic real quick?
Where do people with all these people make content for OnlyFans and they're not pre-existing porn stars or performers or sex workers publicly, how do they accrue fans? Who finds them?
Oh, I mean, I don't think it's hard. I mean, I think Brent could probably speak to this, that, like, you have an active presence on Reddit or Twitter or an alt or something, and, like, you're going to get an audience in some capacity, I think, right, Brent?
I mean, yes and no. So 100%. It's through Instagram and Twitter and Reddit and all those things. I mine them myself all the time for new pages that I want to support.
So it's somebody trying to use the extent they can to a platform like Instagram or TikTok, where they can be sexual but not graphic or whatever, and then that will bait you into following them to their OnlyFans, where they then will do sex stuff.
Yeah, it actually just came up this weekend. There's this guy I've followed for like a year, really attractive, and he finally posted the link to his OnlyFans page this weekend. So that was a big deal. That was
nice.
That was a big part of my
a
weekend.
win in the Sullivan household.
Yeah, a huge win in the Sullivan household. But this is the thing. So this is why I disagreed a little bit with what Alan said. They could have, and I've watched this happen time and again, they could have 20,000, 40,000, 80,000 Instagram followers, and the people that follow through when you post a link on OnlyFans is going to be 0.01%. And that always shocks them, I think, because I followed a number of these guys over the years that they have 50,000 followers, so they think they're going to make, $1 million. There was this one guy, he had 80,000 followers. He finally posted an OnlyFans link. He's like, after so many people have requested it for all these years, he posted the link, and he only got I think it was 20 followers, and his page was cheap. It was $5. So that's $100 for a month. After OnlyFans takes their cut, it's $85, $90 or something. So it's a lot. It's hard work. You have to really get yourself out there in a totally different capacity than Instagram.
And it's got to be such a blow to your ego too.
Yes, and that's what I love about it. Because there's these thirsty, arrogant, entitled guys finally post these links thinking they're going to make a lot of money. They get, there's a lot. The followers are sort of once you join, you're like, well, you got to, it's not Instagram. You got to post stuff, and it has to be worth paying money for, or else I'm not going to resubscribe.
Totally.
And I've seen so many of these pages fall flat. And this one guy, the one I was just talking about, he quit social media altogether afterwards.
Oh wow!
It broke him, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, I love it. I love watching anyone get their comeuppance.
We know you do.
We know you do.
Not even joking.
Well, we are joined today for the second time, I do believe. Oh, I guess maybe for the first time. But we are joined today by a beloved friend of the podcast, beloved comedian, best known for her roles on Silicon Valley and the sci-fi show Resident Alien, where she plays the owner of a pub in a small town where an alien has taken the identity of a local doctor. Alice Wetterlund, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello. Hi, thank you for having me. Finally. After midnight?
Isn't it
3 seasons in and not a booking.
Isn't it crazy that you can create a memory? Because I have this memory of chatting with you when we were recording in person.
Well, maybe then I was on it. Because I do remember that as well, but I'm very easy to incept.
Yeah, right.
I don't remember either.
We can fix this real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, Alan, Alan is officially our researcher.
Alan can fix the
so.
fact.
Yes,
that's
yes.
right. Wait, Alice, as Alan does a little bit of typing on his end, they always complain when I type and not when Alan types.
Well, we can hear you type.
Because apparently my typing is somehow louder than Alan's typing. Alice, tell us about how you're doing. How are you doing in 2024? How's life?
Oh, so you guys don't know. That's my favorite way to answer.
It does appear that Alice has never been on the podcast.
Oh, all right. I stand corrected.
Brent and I both had a shared memory of sorts. I guess 3 of us.
That's kind of how I'm doing in 2024 is
yeah.
people think I've done the thing.
Yeah.
My answer is no, you've never had me actually.
You could also just say things now. You've won an award. You've been on that midnight. You've won it. All the things. Just say it. People will believe it.
My thing is to be hey, I know you think you've had me on I'm not Beth selling those. I know. I'm struggling to get on After Midnight, and it's just a principles thing because I was a regular on At Midnight,
With me. I was there with you.
Yeah, we've been on it. I've been on it so many times that I have specific stories of like different things that had happened.
Yeah.
One time I took Benadryl, and then after midnight came, and I'm like just not. I'm like swimming in the background, like, hey, what if
No,
I?
yeah, no longer invited. And it's
No,
not
never.
like they're booking Brad Pitt, for fuck's sake. You know, it's like
just,
I think they can have me on, right?
Well, they booked Elliot Glazer. We have Elliot Glazer
Right.
on. He was on. So he's
before
sitting
me,
there
I was
quietly
in-
waiting for one of us to recognize that he was on midnight.
No, I'm remembering that when Alice and I were on at midnight, I still remember Adam Conover was with us, and he just kept farting, and he was like,
my
"Sorry,"
God.
and I was like, "Adam, Jesus Christ, man!"
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like,
but I
"You know
fart
what?"
when I get nervous. Do you fart when you get nervous? I do.
No, I
Oh,
don't.
I do.
I do
and everyone's
not.
going to get nervous when they do something like that. Do you fart when you get nervous, Alice?
Yeah, and also I do fart when I get nervous, and the other time I fart is when I'm relaxed. So all the time,
So
not
all the time. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
over 40. So
Wait, can you tell us about your Benadryl experience on
Yeah,
After Midnight?
I
At midnight?
went on After Midnight, and I was having the weirdest sneeze situation. I've never had
Yeah.
it before, never had it since, where I just couldn't stop sneezing. I like sneeze, and like I didn't have any other symptoms of allergy. It was just that, and I just couldn't. I was like, did I inhale
Yeah.
dust motes? And so I finally I took every Claritin, I took every Zyrtec, and I finally just called my mom.
Yeah.
Because I was
Always the
like,
best thing to do.
and she was like, "You have to take Benadryl. You
Oh.
have to take Benadryl." And I was like, "But Mom, you know what's gonna happen? I have to go on TV in a minute." She's like, "You got to do it." So I took the Benadryl, and sure enough, within like a half hour, that was when the writer comes to your room to help punch up. And I remember I was physically like, I was on the couch, the chaise lawn that they put in your dress, and I was literally like, "That'll work. Yeah, that'll probably work." Just totally. And I was like, "Can I just lie down for a minute?" And they're like, "Wow, nobody's ever this not nervous."
No one's ever tried to lie down, take a quick nap before recording in 15 minutes.
Well, you know, it's not my first time, okay? And it
That
probably won't be
is-
my last time, even if they relaunch the show. Little did they know.
And here we are.
Simply not doing that.
That is like one of my greatest fears is like, because I remember I would get nervous whenever I would do stand up on TV. So part of me was like, oh, just take a Xanax to like take the edge off that day. But it's like, you don't want to fuck with any part of your cognitive process. So it's kind of like my number one nightmare to like take a Benadryl an hour before going on stage. And all of a sudden you are like not in your right mind
You
anymore.
feel, I mean, I got the adrenaline rush of being nervous. So when I got on stage on the thingy, I was fine. There was no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, well, so I kind of think
Yeah.
that's interesting that your adrenaline really will pick it up.
That
Yeah.
is
And
interesting.
you'll be able to, and then I crashed right after. So I feel like, and it also makes me think about like, I was, for some reason this time around with the debate, I was like thinking about Kamala Harris and like how relaxed she seems. And like, and you know how nervous we get to go on TV live of any kind, like the most tiniest, you know, who gives a shit thing, you know, the Today Show, like, but you're in the background outside.
You're waving a
So
sign. Or...
nervous. And she's got to be taking the beta blockers up the fucking.
Oh my God, of course.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
I think I've had that thought actually many times before myself, and I just assume that if you hit that echelon, that like you start to like not care as deeply about like performing on Comedy Central at midnight or
Well,
something.
they're also
you know?
not like, I mean, I feel like we're thinking of it in a very different way than they're thinking of it, because they're thinking of just getting out there, talking about the policy, doing the things that they know how to do. They're not thinking of performing necessarily in the way that we are, because we're thinking like, oh, this might get me verified on Instagram, or this might get me 1,000 new followers or something.
But it is
you know?
It's performance. Yeah,
she's performing.
And
It
there's
is, but
so
I don't
much
think she's
pressure.
thinking of it that way.
Yeah, it's a public, like, oh, I'm a public servant.
Yeah.
No, I do think it's. I mean, I've never done speech and debate, but I don't know. In watching someone like her or Obama or anybody, any politician who goes on stage and is able to appear at ease and relaxed and calm, I think that requires a massive skill set that I think a lot of politicians have, but when it translates into not just talking, but managing to seem sort of seamless in interweaving talking and presenting your case. That to me is like it's like a level that
the only moment I saw her break in that, and we've all been there. We've all done something on stage, or we've all been on a presidential debate before. No, we've all been there on stage, or we've done something where we do a hand gesture, or acting, or whatever. We do a hand gesture that feels so insanely not right, and she did it in one moment. You watch midway through. I think it was the first time she sort of looked to Trump. She goes,
We're all doing it.
Right under her chin. Right under her chin. And
you think that was a mistake?
And yeah, because the hand didn't quite touch her face. So you could
feel in this way.
Yeah, it felt like it was something that she was probably looking for that moment to have the okay.
To get the gift. But
yes,
I also
to get the
believe here's what I believe. My conspiracy theory with that is that she did this in a debate prep. Mm-hmm. And everybody in the room was like, "That's so good. That's so good." And she was like, "Oh." Okay. And they're like, "This hand gesture is so good." And they're like, "You've got to do it." And we'll get so many gifts. And she's like, "I don't know." And then she did it. But it's also like, in that moment, it could have been also that you're so nervous that you're like, that you could be like,
yeah.
You know, I feel like there's things that I would do with that because it's like your heartbeat is in your ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they never drink a lot of water though, and that's like, no matter how capable you are of performing on stage, obviously all four of us are. I still get dry mouth, and like
every time
the notion every single time, sometimes oppressively so.
Yeah,
obviously it's not a big deal when you're doing like a bar show or whatever, but then like the fact that like all of these folks can go on a national stage in front of millions of people and take a sip of water the whole time is just wild to me.
Yeah.
Maybe they take some sort of drug.
It's an IV.
There is like a drug that
IV.
I think
beforehand there's an IV thing. You can get like a hydration IV situation.
Really?
There's so many. They're on so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They've got to be on so many things.
Alice, I do want to bring this up.
Yeah.
Because I think of this as a really great feather in your cap. I think of you as one of the comics who.
What if I was like,
I think of you as one of the comics who bust balls harder than like almost anyone I know, including like instances in which you've made me feel really awful about myself at parties, where you've like said things that I'm like, oh my God, like you just cut to the bone, but in such a great way that it actually made me really admire you. But like as a result, like, do you actually have friends? Do people like spending time with you? Or...
Jesus Christ. I mean, honestly, that part of my personality has always been really difficult for me to navigate. Like, I think it's like a family thing. Like, everybody grows up in one kind of social norm. And for my family specifically, like my mom and her aunts were like really brutal to each other.
Wow.
And I grew up in that, and I was like, this is amazing. And so I was always just like being so hard, like, just the jokes, the more you could tear each other down, but everybody was cracking up, right? And and now that I'm getting married,
to
a human man,
nice.
his family's from LA. He's from LA, and his family is around, and we're around his family quite a bit. And they did not grow up that way. They are kind.
Yeah.
And they laugh a lot, but it's like they're sweet and open with each other. Wow. And so it's really uncomfortable for me to constantly have to be like, I feel like I'm always suppressing something.
Yeah. A jab.
Are you the type of person, I mean, because I have this, I suffer, I don't have a jab. I'm not I don't come out, I think, as mean-spirited or anything, but like, I do have the problem of saying the thing and then I reveal what I'm actually thinking by how I say the thing. So like, for example, I was with some friends and I said, we were in a bookstore and I was like, I didn't know if one of my friends like was a reader. And I was like, do you read? And I asked it genuinely as if like, oh, do you like to read? Do you read? But they took it as like, I don't read.
Can you
like
even read?
Yeah, I know, it was bad. It was bad. And I know that's how I even think because I know they don't read a lot.
Yeah. Whoa, so you did think that?
I did think that, and that's the problem in my head.
Oh, so it was kind of...
But I didn't mean it that way when I said it.
It didn't sound like, do you enjoy reading? It sounded like you were asking, do you know what books are?
Do you read?
Yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly. Right. That's how it came out. So do you have that same problem?
No, I just say it.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
say,
yeah.
You know what books are. I really do like. I have. I've weaponized it to my advantage and to my absolute disadvantage throughout my career. Like I've said things and never had a publicist and never had any
Sure.
space between me and I, at a certain point it was like, okay, are you going to continue to talk this way on the internet and whatever? And it was like, well, the cat's out of the bag, like the bridges that have been burned. There's no going back.
Yeah.
And the benefit is that when I say certain things and I do like when I'm honest and very direct and funny about it, and I say things to people, I've heard feedback in the industry from people that are like, that was really inspiring, or like that felt good to see somebody say that. And so I don't know, that's kind of where
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think it's so noteworthy for me, and why I enjoy it from you, is that I think the default amongst women in general, and also even women comics, is that you still have to kind of play the role. You have to be, nurturing, kinder, and all these things. And it's you and Christian Shaw. I've seen Christian Shaw be like really cutting, like backstage with comics, and again in a very like hilarious, joyful way. But like you guys can really hold your own always, and I find that very sexy. Definitely a turn on, Alice.
Thank you for saying that. It really means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And like I say, people come up to me and they're like, it was inspiring what you said to Brent.
Yeah, right. All those horrible, denigrating comments. Wait, can we dive a little bit into then your mom's relationship? Like, was your mom funny with her sisters, or do they kind of secretly hate each other?
They both, but it's both. The relationship isn't one of like, it's a very close relationship.
Yeah.
With my mom and her sisters and their younger brother that is fraught.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think it's because of the way that they speak to each other.
Yeah.
It's because of other shit that they just dealt with. And for sure, like busting balls is a way of glossing over the uncomfortable. And that's been my way of coping. Yeah. And I think a lot of us for my whole life. And I love it. And it's great. And I'm like, there's no problem. But my, like in my relationship, my fiance is like, he's like, no, but let's like actually have a conversation. And I'm like, dup, 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 and
no, thanks.
Yeah. Right.
I'd rather make fun of your balls or whatever. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wait.
Fortunately, he loves it. It's great. We have a great, we play baseball together. So it's perfect. It's me. That's why I feel like most myself in rooms with other comics and at baseball. Because
I thought you were going to say with your fiance, but you actually said at baseball.
No. Yes, of course with him, and that's why I'm marrying him. But like those places, like it's not that it's male dominated. It's that it's dominated by people who, especially my baseball team, like are competing or, very up for ball busting and being cutting and direct. Like, you don't feel out of place saying fucked up shit there. And if you go too far, people, instead of the room getting quiet, somebody comes in and was like, well, like they dump on you.
Yeah, right.
There is nothing better than hitting a ball. I love when I'm able.
Have you done it much?
No, but I'm not good at it. And I remember, I remember when I was a kid, they would always like wait until I actually hit the ball. You know what I mean? I had to stand there and keep swinging and swinging and swinging until I finally hit the ball. But then there is something about when you do actually hit the ball.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have the biggest dick in the room. I just feel like I can do anything when I hit that ball.
Anything.
I can tell you this. I was actually, the one sport I was good at was baseball, and to this day, some very vivid memories of mine are like, I had like 2 really good seasons where I was like crushing it, and I can still picture that and feel the feeling of like a few home runs I hit, a few triples I hit, and just like it's like buried in my like subconscious,
Brett, you have to come play baseball with me.
I've actually thought about this for a long time, and I put it off for so long, but I really want to play baseball with you guys.
Our league is like, first of all, there's no you don't have to try out.
Yeah,
and so it has a lot of different ranges of skill, but also we're not accepting any more like straight cis white dudes. So you get in by the skin.
Wow.
Like you are just,
Wow.
but there honestly is not enough gay men representation in our league. And
great! I actually think I'm going to do it because I've been wanting to do this for a while.
Then you can find the other closeted ones and pull them out, and then it'll go up.
I like that.
Not our brand.
No, I don't think Brent would be. I think I would be able to go in there and find the closet ones because I would come in with the one bat that is bedazzled that is only for show, and then I have the play bat as well. I come with 2 bats for the thing. That's how the faggots come to me. They are like they look at the bedazzling and they're like, oh, and I would be able to out all of them.
We do have some great novelty bat representation. I mean, this is just I would just love. Also, mostly, I really just want more comics on my team.
Wait, is this an intramural kind of official capacity thing, or?
It's not like with a company. It's a league. It's an independent league that I actually my boyfriend and some other people started, and it is 7-8 teams now.
Oh wow!
And it's just you pay some dues, and we play pretty much only in Burbank. Morgan Miller plays on my team, and there's some other people in there from entertainment, but it's just all different.
How often do you say or maybe yell, "There's no crying in baseball"?
Oh my God, never.
Oh,
Never.
see,
The only time I would ever yell that is through tears.
oh.
Wait, I was just looking at some old texts between you and myself, Alice, and the last time I texted you, it was Garrett, who was your fiance, is so handsome. I want backstage passes to his show. And you said, do you want backstage passes to his butt? And then you sent me a picture of him. So tell us about your fiance. How are things going? When are you getting married?
Very well. We're probably getting married next year because I'm going to Vancouver in November to start season 4 of Resident Alien.
Nice.
So I'll be up there in that great place for 6 months about. And then I'll be free to come back here and marry whoever I choose. But yeah, I think we're going to do like a courthouse thing because
Cute.
I've had the big wedding. I've done the wedding thing like already. So I know what it costs, what it's like.
Yeah.
And this is going to sound corny, but I really want to remember my wedding. Like I want to remember all the parts.
Yeah.
Because having that like cacophony of stuff going on around you is just so you're nervous and you don't get to stop and slow down. And so I just want to have it be just us. And then we'll do like a party or whatever. But also it's like, weddings. It's like almost feels like it almost feels like, I don't know, like Zionist to have a wedding or something. It's bad.
Weddings suck. Weddings suck.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I mean, I like parties. I love a party.
I like other people's weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't even like that.
Yeah.
I don't even like that.
Dress up and judge. The fact that we're even having a wedding, you're like, this is a choice.
Right.
But
I still remember I think it was the first wedding I went to as like an adult in New York City amongst all of our friends, all of our friends, and the comic shall remain nameless, although I'm sure you were there, Alice. And I remember I had to rent a car. I picked up like a bunch of friends. We had to drive to Jersey. We went to the wedding, and it was at the wedding that I found out that our friend and his fiance weren't even going to live together. And I was like, can I have my blender back? Because this is a waste of a wedding. And guess what? They were divorced within a year, never lived together.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. I know who that was, and I was not invited to that. But yes, I remember it very well. That was great.
Yeah. Right.
For the comedy community than a messy breakup. I remember when our friend Tom Sibley got his engagement ended.
Oh, I'm sure Tom wouldn't want us to bring up his broken engagement on our podcast, but I don't remember that
because it was the funniest he's ever been.
Oh.
God, God, he was funny. It was he was destroying. Talking about throwing the ring to a bunch of squirrels in the park.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Tom, God love him. We love him. Tom is now married, happily married, and I do believe has
married.
I think he's fine now. Then he
a
doesn't need
nibbling.
to.
I believe he has at least a one nibbling.
Yeah.
Alice, how many?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say how much gay stuff is in your ether, like day-to-day life, people. What's that?
Much gay stuff, I would say.
Yeah.
Like what? I'm just curious. And also, Brent wrote in the Google Doc. Do you know any gay people? Seems like they'd hate you.
No, I'm just fucking around.
So good.
That was my slam on you. It was.
I
I'm
have
just
a
fucking.
lot. Oh, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, like I'm going down the list of my close gay friends.
Yeah,
and I'm going,
as
like,
you do.
every one of them's attitude towards me, almost down to everyone, is like, there's a lot of crying. There's a lot of like, I would say probably. I mean, like most of my best friends are queer gay.
Yeah.
Queer
nice.
gay or gay or queer gay?
Well, the queer gay is the kind of gay that's like you're Gen Z.
Yeah, you're like indefinable.
Yeah.
Which is so annoying. There's this. I live in my building. I have sometimes a party on the roof for the building, and there's this one woman who lives in the building, and she's like the most cliche lesbian, but she's 23.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I asked her, I'm like, so I mean, how do you define? Do you consider yourself queer or lesbian? And she just goes, I don't know. And it's like, well,
how did it come? Like, how did you bring that up in conversation? Like, did you just like go up and be like, "Oh, hey, Liz. So, how do you define Les?" Or
I like the idea. He's going through his mail and he's like, "Yeah, so this is how do you define?"
Yeah.
yeah.
It was perfectly reasonable. I'm forgetting exactly how, Alan, but I know how to navigate social circumstances.
I like how we go from a conversation of us talking about how fun it is to rib on people, and then Brink gets pissed when we do the one thing we're saying is fun. Literally.
No, that's fair. That's
so sensitive.
Perfectly fair critique. You're right. Well, Alice, you are absolutely such a delight, and I would like everyone listening to know how they could. Oh,
before you cut me off, before you do it, I just want to say, me saying I don't want this podcast to be Alice Wetterlund says some of my best friends are gay. All right? That's not the takeaway. All right, I wanted to put out into the space because I have a lot of friends from a lot of different backgrounds. You know what I mean? I just want to dig deeper into whatever hole I'm in.
You should know, this is the audience, honestly, the three of us are the audience that would prefer you don't have more gay friends.
Yeah, right.
We're
I
like,
actually got a little annoyed when Alice was like, she has a lot of gay friends. I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? Why don't you call me more?
We don't want that, yeah.
This is really crazy. I am friends with several gay men who do not know each other.
Yeah.
Like my lesbian friends all know each other.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
and
interesting.
there's something, there's some sort of like mycelial network with the lesbians. But the gay, they're like very isolated, and it's always single, and you're never finding it, and it's just like, and I can't presume to like introduce them to each other.
Yeah. No.
Because something could, world.
God forbid
gay
you have
people-
a Christmas party, but yeah.
Gay people do secretly hate each other.
Yes,
outwardly.
always.
Yeah,
Secretly and outwardly as well.
Why?
Alice, where can people find you on the internet? Where can they follow you?
It's Alice Wetterlund across the board. And if
WETTERLUND.
Sure is. That's how it's spelled. And if you want to, maybe for any reason, come to, I'd say, my Twitch stream. I stream on Twitch. I play games, and it's a fun time.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
I don't know if anybody who listens to this watches Twitch, but if there is anyone, like that's the audience I'm trying to get.
Yeah.
We've had Twitch people in here too. Yeah.
Perfect. Like I don't want to announce. I would announce this on when I go on Rogan next week. Just
And another thing.
So my question for this week's and another thing was I'll say it in a second, but what's funny is that underneath it, underneath my question is one that Brent suggested, which is, what do you do if it takes them forever to come? But I decided we'll talk about that another time. And this time I wanted to ask, do you buy or send flowers, and which ones go into your bouquets? Shows the differences in our brain.
The difference.
And the irony of that, the most sexual person on the planet is like, oh, you have a sexual question. Oh. I haven't bought anyone flowers since I bought my mom flowers for Mother's Day in 1994.
Why?
See it
Why
as
not?
like, I don't know. I see it as like I'm very utilitarian about gifts. I like to give people gifts that I think are kind of fit within their life. And for me, flowers just kind of feel wasteful. There's the sustainable part kind of, I just kind of enters my brain. I'm like, where do these flowers come from? And, I don't know. I get why people love them. But they do absolutely nothing for me.
A box of dirt with a card. Brent's with sympathy.
Yeah, with sympathy. Do you buy flowers? Who do you buy flowers for?
Yes,
I love buying flowers for anybody who does it's the perfect gift to say thank you.
Yeah.
I think in a personalized way that is just lovely and aromatic and pretty. I don't know. Colleen, our friend, recently watched Moses while I was out of town, and she does not want me to pay her, and I'm like, the perfect gift. I think just the kindest. I don't know if it's the kindest gift, but it's a thoughtful and considerate gift to give a beautiful bouquet of flowers that have been picked. I don't know. I love
selected,
it.
sure.
Hand selected. I love it, and I just think roses are so pretty.
Roses are very pretty.
The colors is so nice, and I love giving flowers.
Yeah,
How about
same.
you, Alan?
I love giving flowers, and I love getting flowers, and I love buying flowers for us
I
here.
love getting a plant. Like somebody will give me a
plant is bullshit.
No,
is
not
bullshit.
a plant. Like I forget the kind of plant it is, where it's with the orchid. Is it the orchid?
Oh,
Yeah, an orchid's
sure.
okay. An orchid's okay, but
Yeah.
a gift that comes with long-term responsibility, fuck you. Like,
succulent
fuck
is
you.
fine. Is nice.
No, but a succulent's going in the trash. I don't have time or energy to keep anything alive for more than 7 days. And so flowers to me are a lovely, and what I love about it too is that it is not permanent. They're not permanent, that there is a shelf life to them. It's just a gift of I just wanted to give these to you because they're pretty and because it's the moment or whatever it is. I know we got Naomi flowers for something recently, and she got us, when Fraser died, a beautiful display of flowers. So did our friend. We got lots of flowers, and it was and it's nice because it's just so. I don't know. There's something about the visual of being able to look at something and say, it's a sweet reminder of a sentiment that makes me feel good about having that person in my life. And it's also, in a weird way, and this is especially because they're often associated with death, that the flowers having a shelf life also then puts more value into the person who gave them to me, knowing that things have a shelf life, that things don't last forever, and that I must value those things. There's a depth to it that I take that is very important to me.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I don't know. They don't I love Christmas. I love Christmas trees, and for years now, I've been like, just get a Christmas tree, just buy a Christmas tree and put it up every year. Give yourself that, even though you spend, obviously Christmas with my family in Michigan, just do it. And I just can't do it. There's the impermanence of it. There's also something to me about because I find Christmas trees so cheerful and delightful that I'm like, the feeling of them coming down in January is so crushing that I sometimes will put off. Well, for many years, I've put off getting one because I'm like, I don't want to feel the loss when they're gone.
Interesting.
When it's
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I kind of love that Christmas trees don't last forever.
Sure. No, I know what you mean, and I wouldn't. I'm not saying I would want a Christmas tree that lasts forever, but there's some part of me that's like, yeah, I'm like, like where is there a way to incorporate the cheerfulness of a Christmas tree in your house
Maybe a wreath.
year round?
Yeah.
Well, I'm big on Christmas lights. I don't use them
Yeah.
quite. I go through phases with them. But Christmas lights, I think, ultimately is sort of what I'm talking about, which is like you just get this kind of nice burst of kind of bright cheer. You could, line some cabinets or whatever with it, and it's just kind of nice and warm and
Just
inviting.
imagining you hanging Christmas lights as like airplane disasters blasts in the background.
What would your aunt say?
Brent, what would your Aunt Ramona say about something she heard on today's show?
Just feel free to add Beau DeMayo's OnlyFans URL to your Instagram. I might just check that out.
Your aunt's interested in Beau DeMayo.
I guess. I don't know. It made no sense in my head, but I spent the last 3 minutes thinking and I gave up. So,
That's fine.
There you go.
My Aunt Joanne would say, does Alice know about Sandy Koufax? Because and I would say, I know, he's Jewish. Yes, we have a Jewish baseball player. We're all aware.
Koufax was really handsome too. That's a handsome guy.
I'll have to Google that.
Yeah.
How about Aunt Anne?
Aunt Anne would say, "Oh, I hate flowers, but I don't hate pussy willows."
Oh, nice. Wait. You don't know what Sandy Koufax looks like?
I don't remember what he looks like.
Wow. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, everyone, thank you for listening. Good night and good luck.
Good luck. Oh, wow, he was cute. Jesus.
Really, really cute.
Oh, brother.
Oh, wow.
We're ending it now.